Hey Super Cruisers, it's Kevin and Frank from Cruising with Wheels.
Welcome to part 3 of our Bermuda series, transportation with a lot of accessibility.
So just like Frank said at the beginning in the intro, today is all about transportation with a slight focus on accessibility of the island. And I want to start out by warning everybody in the sound of my voice that Bermuda does not have anything like we have in America, which is the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Yes.
They don't have anything like that. They don't have anything like the UK's Equality Act or the Human Rights Campaign. Also, specifically, they has no legislation that protects disabled individuals.
I know, it's pretty much left up to the individual companies, right?
Exactly.
As to what they want to help accessible people or not. How sad.
And I'm really not sure why that is, because they are a British protectorate.
Right.
Protectorate?
Yes.
Is that the right word? So why don't you start us off with telling us a little bit about Bermuda?
Alrighty. The Bermuda government does not require accommodation providers like hotels, guest houses, cottage colonies, apartments, villas, or shops, restaurants, sightseeing attractions, or boats to make any of their facilities accessible. Now, some do try in certain ways, but they do it voluntarily. Bermuda is not a great place for persons with disabilities who are not planning to stay on site at a resort. Getting around the island is a bit difficult, even for the agile, who must rely on motorbikes, bicycles, and buses. It is difficult to walk with a cane outside the town of St. George and city of Hamilton because most roads do not have sidewalks or adequate curbs. When two vehicles pass, you are often crowded off the road. Taking taxis to everything you want to see can be very expensive. Unfortunately, the public buses are not geared for passengers in wheelchairs. However, you can check on the availability of volunteer buses operated by the Bermuda Physically Handicapped Association. It occasionally runs buses with hydraulic lifts. You can also call the tourist office and request a schedule for such transportation. Make arrangements as far in advance as possible. Before you go, you can seek information from the website of the Bermuda Physically Handicapped Association. Visitors planning to bring a guide dog to Bermuda must obtain a permit in advance from any Bermuda Department of Tourism office. Now, as far as the streets are concerned, they're not very handicap friendly.
But in the city of Hamilton, some roads have disabled-friendly sidewalks. Bermuda sidewalks are often very busy with pedestrians, can be steep, and are not always on both sides of the road, and traffic on the main road between sidewalks is often dense. It is very hilly with few flat places, not good for disabled people confined to a wheelchair, like you, Frank, who are not accompanied by a spouse or caregiver with the strength to lift them. Main roads are very narrow and almost always busy during the weekday especially. There are now sidewalks with sloping ramps uniformly throughout the most frequently traveled tourism and international business areas of the city. And the town of St. George is very slowly improving. More heavily trafficked areas like the Royal Naval Dockyard Complex, downtown Hamilton, downtown St. George's will have more ramped curbing cuts, but little else. Many stores, shops, and restaurants will not be what is commonly thought of as, quote, handicapped accessible. Bermuda's terrain in general is strangely quite hilly at several places, so for elderly and mobility challenged who can walk but for short distances, you need to be careful about choosing where you go on the island. If you are docked at King's Wharf, the good news is that the Royal Naval Dockyard is quite flat. There are ample shades, trees, and benches to sit. There are also several restaurants in the dockyard, so it is quite easy to walk around the dockyard complex. The main town center at St. George, known as King's Square, is in a flat terrain. It is easy to walk around. The shops and restaurants here are also at the same level plane. Wear comfortable shoes, cotton clothes, and carry a water bottle and an umbrella during the daytime to beat that heat. Now, another mode of transportation that comes to mind other than walking or in the streets, right, would be a ferry.
Yes.
They have great ferry systems.
Yep.
Right? Yep. And you're going to tell us about that.
I know. You can roll aboard most, not all, public ferries. Blue and orange route ferries, but must carry chairs aboard ferries at most stops for the pink and green route stops. Bermuda's convenient public ferries are easily accessible from the Hamilton Ferry Terminal, the ferry dock at Royal Naval Dockyard, and the Rockaway Ferry Point in Southampton. The ferry dock at St. George is not wheelchair accessible. There is very limited accessibility at this dock. See crew for assistance. For information, call the Hamilton Terminal at 1-441-295-4506.
Now, as far as the fares are concerned, they relatively are a good value. There are 4 ways to pay, either cash, token, or transportation pass or ticket. Paying by cash is the most expensive way of traveling. You also need the exact fare in coins. Notes are not accepted. For those of you in America, that would be considered cash paper money. Using tokens, tickets, or a transportation pass is cheaper. You can't buy any of these on the ferry itself. They can be purchased at the Visitor Information Center, Hamilton Ferry Terminal, or a sub-post office. Paying by a token or cash seems to be the best, and if you are just going to be doing 1 or 2 ferry trips during your stay, if you are staying for a long time but traveling infrequently, you are in a large group, then buying a book of tickets may be your best option concerning the ferries. So I think ferries are a great idea to jump around the islands and the different areas of Bermuda. But if you're going to be staying on Bermuda proper, right, then buses can be a great option. What's that all about?
The pink public buses, known as Breeze Bus, are efficient, frequent, and quite fast. There are 11 bus routes in Bermuda, and all except one operate from Hamilton City Central Bus Terminal to virtually every corner of the island. There are a total of 14 bus zones. You can tender your bus fare by exact change in coins or using a token or booklet of tickets. All public buses in Bermuda are also air-conditioned and comfortable. Some, not all, public buses have chairlifts. The problem is that few public bus stops are equipped or set up to use them. Most of the bus stops that may be set up to use them will be in Dockyard, downtown Hamilton, or downtown St. George's. The minibus services, most are privately run, are quite convenient for shuttle transfers between places that are not served by regular buses. Several island group tours are also offered in minibuses which operate in per-person rates.
Now, if buses aren't your thing and you want to be traveling more private, or perhaps you're in a wheelchair and need a wheelchair accessible option, taxis, limos, and trolleys might be just the thing. Now, the taxi service is also quite efficient and popular on the island. Although expensive, it does provide lots of flexibility and privacy. In fact, for airport transfers and even local island tours, taxis are the widely used mode of transport. There are two types of taxis. There's either the 4-passenger or the 7-passenger, and they both hold different fares and rates. Now, several Bermuda taxi services provide wheelchair accessible transportation, making it easier to get from place to place. As a third option to the 4-wheeled mode of transportation, we would have vehicle rentals. Now, those will be electric cars in most instances. Instead of a conventional rental car, Bermuda offers a fun and eco-friendly fleet of 2-seater electric vehicles. These compact and safe electric rental cars allow you to explore the whole island in style and at your own pace, and it only takes about an hour to drive from one end to the other. And Frank's got a few Bermuda driving tips for you.
That's right. Now, on Bermudian roads, motorists drive on the left. It's UK style. The maximum speed is 22 miles per hour. That's 35 kilometers per hour. On all Bermuda roads, bicycles and scooters have the same road rights. Always wear your seatbelt when driving. Well, if you're thinking of 2 wheels instead of the 4-wheel electric car, we have an option for you. Very popular on the island.
Now, there are scooter rentals available, and there are motor scooters, which are mopeds, or you can get a pedaled bike version, a bicycle, and they're ideal for exploring the island's windy cities or just stopping in at a lay-by, aka a scenic overlook, and you can take in the ocean views. It's truly a Bermudian way of getting around. Now, scooter riders and cyclists of all levels can make the most of these favorite modes of transportation. And fear not, the speed limit is never set above 20 miles per hour any place on the island. Just remember that all Bermudians drive on the left. Now, if that is the way that you're going to go, there are 3... That's not how you drive a scooter.
Oh.
Scooters are like this, or bicycles.
Okay, wait. Crash!
Now, there's only 3 things that you have to remember that if you're going to go the route of a scooter. Number 1, you must be 18 years of age or older. Number 2, you must be wearing a helmet. And number 3, you must drive what?
On the left-hand side.
On the left-hand side of the road.
UK style.
So, since we're on the topic of UK style, why don't we just talk about beach bingo style? We're going to tell you all about the beaches and what's accessible and what's not, which you'll find out when we're telling you, but we're going to show you a picture of each one, and we're going to start out with
Horseshoe Bay Beach. Bermuda's most popular beach has a limited number of beach wheelchairs available for the disabled. You can book on the spot, but not in advance. This beach has the best amenities available.
And we think that if you're in a wheelchair, you should go to Horseshoe Bay and skip all of the rest. The next is Tobacco Bay. Tobacco Bay is a scenic bay at the northernmost end of Bermuda and is surrounded by unique rocky formations.
The next one is John Smith Bay Beach, a long, flat expanse of pink sand. John Smith Bay is located close to a convenient parking area.
Pictured here is Clearwater Beach. This is a nice man-made beach at the east end. Now, if you're in a wheelchair, you can access this beach. However, you're going to need to take a wheelchair-accessible taxi from St. George's up to the beach, which is located at St. David's. The beach is, however, easily accessible from the road.
Now, Shelly Bay Beach. This is an excellent family beach with lots of shallows. It is located at Hamilton Parish and near a bus stop. The beach is easily accessible from the road.
So bring your suntan and your babies. Snorkel Park is part of the Royal Naval Dockyard Complex on the west end. The Snorkel Park Beach has everything you need for a day at the beach, from a beach bar and a restaurant to bathrooms, lockers, and lots of fun activities. Now, we didn't forget all of our wheelchair guests, cruisers, right?
That's right.
We have compiled a list of some wheelchair-friendly, accessible attractions.
Right.
And I don't know, you think you want to do some of these things?
Oh, possibly.
So I think the first one you've done before, so why don't you tell them about it?
All right. Bermuda Underwater Exploration Institute. This accessible attraction offers interactive exhibits galore, ranging from shipwrecks to marine life.
Bermuda National Gallery. The BNG, as it's known, Bermuda collection features artwork spanning from the 1600s to the present day and offers a revealing look at Bermuda's discovery, development, and culture influences.
Bermuda Cathedral of the Most Holy Trinity. Located in the heart of Hamilton City, Bermuda Cathedral features stained glass, arches, and an ornate wall behind the altar containing sculptures of Christ and several saints.
Fort St. Catherine. Most of this historic fortress is easily accessible, believe it or not, for those in wheelchairs, letting you easily explore centuries-old ramparts, fascinating exhibits, and much, much more.
Bermuda Aquarium, Museum, and Zoo, known as BAMS, featuring one of the world's oldest aquariums, a natural history museum, and a zoo with 300 birds, reptiles, and mammals from islands around the world.
Now, like we said in an earlier video, and I can't remember if this was in our number 1 or number 2, but a very popular destination on the island is Crystal and Fantasy Caves.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they are not handicap accessible, and they should be avoided
Right.
by anyone that is wheelchair bound or has any type of mobility issues. There are a ton of stairs. It's a lot of walking.
Underground caves.
Underground caves.
Not very conducive.
Lots of platforms. It could be slippery.
Right.
So any of you that are going to take the dive down into the caves, make sure that you're wearing rubber-soled shoes. Make sure that...
cover up a bit because the temperature's lower than it is above ground in the warm Bermuda sun. Now, in conclusion of our Part 3, Transportation and Accessibility of Bermuda, we just want to share with you an email we got from one of our subscribers who shared with us his experience traveling to the island. This is from Tom Y. Thanks, Tom, for sending this. We're going to share it with everyone. He says, "Hi, guys. Thank you for this series. I've been to Bermuda twice on NCL, and unfortunately, our 2020 cruise to there was canceled." I know. We feel ya. Always had a great time there, and the people are very nice. The minibus is the best way to get around. They're all parked right there where the ship is, and no reservations are needed. They wait for the ships to arrive. Our last visit there, the minibus was about $7 per person. It's about a half-hour ride to Horseshoe Bay Beach and passes through neighborhoods along the way. The Rum Bum outdoor bar at Horseshoe usually has live music. There's a free trolley that will take you around to the different stores where the ship docks. The Frog and Onion Pub is a traditional stop with walking distance from the ship near the shopping plaza. A huge drink can be bought there with a souvenir glass that you go next door to choose. It's a relaxing port with NCL having 2.5 days there. I had asked the ship's security, when do we have to be back? And they had said, when the ship leaves. So when you're out and about on the full days, you don't have to be back at the ship at any particular time. Now, years ago, the ships used to dock in downtown Hamilton. That's where his first Bermuda cruise had docked. But as the ships got larger, they made a cruise ship port at the Royal Dockyards. The reason we were given is Bermuda didn't want to cut to destroy the coral in order to accommodate the larger ships in Hamilton. It's a beautiful, place to visit. Thank you, Tom, for sharing that with all of us.
Now, if you're not already a regular subscriber like Tom Y, please consider subscribing to our channel. It helps us out, and it'll help you out if you click that little bell, and you will receive regular notifications of when our videos go live, as well as when we go live.
That's right.
We're also on
Twitter, Instagram,
Facebook,
and Snapchat.
But until next time, we want to remind everybody out there in YouTube land, and if you're out on a cruise, to always
Travel safe
and cruise often.